Welcome back, everybody, to Division 2. We've got ourselves an interesting matchup here between Domino, Esports, and London United. And the reason I'm saying interested, or interesting rather, is because there has been a roster change for London U. Dunlossie is moving down to their Academy squad, whereas they've brought up Noided, who, of course, is a player we both know well from UKEL. Big Zach player, as I recall as well. There's a lot of memes going around about him last year where the like his ranking when he's on Zach right at the top, ranking when he's off Zach down at the bottom, the memes all over the place. But they've decided they were going to try again another shift here. I believe KZ has also stepped out of the roster.
Yeah, so it's especially the jungle, right? I think not to disrespect AD carries, but in the competitive setting, typically ADs don't have the biggest voices, right? They're effectively a bot to be fed resources to then deal damage. That's how usually ADs are treated. So KZ stepping down, it's not necessarily, the biggest thing, but I think Noided coming up in the jungle, Dunlossie is somebody that I believe has a relatively big voice anyway. So, junglers in competitive, they normally are the early game shot callers as well. So this is effectively a very big systems change for London United in more cases than not. Looking at 3 more weeks to play, 6 more games. I think London, I'll pull it up on my side. I should have it up already, to be honest with you. But London's next run of games is obviously Domino here, Lucent, AAB, Flung, Verdant, Natives. That's not a bad run of form or run of games
It
to
should be.
back
It's
out the
doable.
split on.
It's
Yeah,
doable.
exactly.
But of course, like my issue is, of course, there's been a lot of roster changes with London United. We've seen
Yeah.
3 mid laners. There's been another AD carry. Junglers getting switched as well. They've not quite found a roster that's clicked, and obviously, hope for them is that this one will. But while they've got a slightly easier, at least on paper, run of schedule, pending form of various teams, of course, um, I'm still nervous for them because of the consistent shifts, and that doesn't really necessarily bode well for a squad, especially considering there were some expectations, I think, for London United as they came up. There was a little bit of
Yeah,
excitement about one or two of these players.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least like, sort of top 4, top 5, like that was like the height of the expectations, right? Definitely like a very strong, solid, makes playoffs way more times than it does make playoffs roster.
Hmm.
And definitely fallen very short of those expectations. And like you say, roster changes come left and right. I think it's one of those weird positions to be in, not only as a player, but coaching staff, management
Of
staff even.
course.
Do we want to change players mid-split? Because it
Big
can
goal.
leave. Yeah, it's a very, very big call. The call has been to not only change out, their mid laner from early on, and Yoichi has actually stepped into the role and been playing absolutely spectacularly.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
changing now, the jungle role, I think those are the big roles to change, right? Jungle support, those typically like the 2 roles which are in competitive, usually delegated the vocal roles in teams. It can vary team to team naturally, but I think doing it this late into the split is a very massive, massive call, and it has to pay off because if it doesn't,
Absolutely.
they're just going to fall short. And at the moment, Verdant just picked up a win. They have to keep at the very least parity with Verdant to stay out of the relegation
Things get a
zone.
bit scary. Exactly.
Yeah,
They really want this one. And unfortunately, the team they're going against is Domino, who are tied for third right now. Or, of course, Lucent losing earlier gives them a little bit of breathing room in terms of keeping up there. And if Domino, honestly, much to Viperoon's displeasure, have been starting to pick up a few more wins. They're on a pretty extended win streak. As like outside of Munster, they're on the longest win streak in the whole league right now. They're 5 back-to-back right now. They've been looking really good. And the improvement, the consistency of this team as the split has gone on has really improved, and that makes it quite a challenge for London United, who've made a lot of these changes. Of course, Fab's coming in on the bot lane as well. Big change, of course. Ripped, unsurprisingly, does not get to have Riven. Of course, on the other side, Icecale doesn't get to have Rengar. Those aren't any big surprises, but of course, it's more the surprises in terms of the roster shifts. I'll be more interested to see whether Domino are prepared for, whether London United can make work.
yeah. And you asked me, coming into this matchup, lanes to look at. Mid lane, definitely one of them, but honestly, Ice Scale into Ripped, that could yield some explosives up in the top side. We'll have to see. Especially, it's always very fun to see London United on red side because it means Ice Scale typically gets given counter pick, and he has come out with some very particular picks from time to time.
Yes,
Very
I think
overloaded
that's fair to
draft.
say.
I would quite comfortably say only really Zeri, Gwen, TF taken off the table out of the very super early meta picks here. So that means that we
What
will be getting our
surprise.
first Jinx of the day. Now that is up and available. Oh no, what's that? Helios? Man,
I've never seen these two champions up
I
against
would,
each
I
other.
would,
That's
I would
complete
really
surprise.
hate. I would really hate to see something like a Zinzao or a Thresh locked in here by London.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean,
Really
like, there's a Hecarim as well. That's been a little bit. Oh, go on. Noided. I will love you forever. I'm sure Melvin is all out there who's done a couple Div 2 games. Would be very sad not to be here if the Ivern gets locked in.
I think it's just.
Oh, come on.
It's one of those.
Volibear has been rising in priority a little bit. Lots of ways to set up tower dives. It's big, beefy. You can duel pretty early. You get a lot of jungle control. Lots of good things there for the bear from Freljord.
And I just want to say before Domino lock in their pick, you know I'm an Ivern player, right? It's not just
I
Melvin.
didn't know that.
I
genuinely, I just have you down as like
very
Kane and
good
Gangplank and nothing else. Like I assume that's like the hole that your League of Legends is for you.
No. I've played.
I refuse to believe you have more
wide-
character depth than that. That's not how it works. You've got like, come on, man.
Nah,
Don't do this to me.
I've got. You'd be surprised as far as League of Legends is concerned. Anyway,
Right.
Jarvan responded here by Sidon. And as for Shaolin, what will the lock-in be?
How can you not be a one-trick pony as an analyst? That's not how it works. You know, you got to have one champion they're really passionate about. Every other. I work with Trouble Inc., who's like pure Katarina. Gulborg is like screaming about Renata and screaming "mommy" every time she's on screen. I've got Alex, who's Ari all the time. Melvin is the Ivan. Like, you can't break the trend, man. What are you doing?
No, I'm breaking the trend. I mean, at worst, it's like Gangplank because he actually shows up. Maybe then you'd talk about Kane when he was sort of meta last split. By the way, who's Thresh locked in? Not surprised. Dividus again is on Nautilus into Thresh.
Not what a surprise. Yeah.
We're looking at Bant here just for a second to keep it
Sure.
grounded. Probably carries away from Rip. I think Shaolin has too many picks to really nail
That's
down.
fair. Yeah.
anything. If you're looking at Yoichi, maybe on Domino's side, I think it's very tough to remove away Icy Gale's picks because at the end of the day, he's on R5. But if you really want to just take away the options of things like,
Yeah, like a Camille might be an option. Yeah, exactly.
Sure, go ahead. And
It's just a lot of top lane focus from both teams. Like both teams know, like these guys have like interesting picks, should we say, out the wazoo.
Yeah, exactly. So not too surprised that we're seeing top from both these teams. Domino, I think, honestly, could have very easily gone down either route. Who could have guessed?
I could never saw it coming.
And
75 reference. Let's go.
Yeah, I know. Here for you, for Yoichi, one thing that slipped through the draft here, the Rise, could be a very strong pickup.
So is the Ari as well, which is again that pick that's been pretty up and down. Like, honestly, I've seen a lot of Zillion paired up with Volibear as well, because you throw a bomb on top of him and he dives in, you shut off the tower, like lots of nasty dive combos there. So that might be an option as well, but you called it out. The Rise is there. You can roam up the Volibear somewhere and you've got a nasty dive combo straight up.
And at the end of the day, if you're looking to impact the top side of the map, or I mean, hell, the bottom side is Rise, it's the pick to go for at the moment, Realm Warp. And you're able to cheat so much tempo and so much time moving down to either side post level 6. And now Shaolin has the opportunity to counterpick it. You called out the Ari. Definitely could see that one follow through if you want to go for something more standard. Oriana, if you want to go for something a little more 2v2. Syndra. Graves will be the option here for Ripped. So Shaolin taking his time in terms of thinking about what he actually wants to pick up here into this Rise. But I'm more interested now at seeing Icy Gale looking at this Graves pick. What is he actually going to opt for? Because so many top lane bans already in the bin, like you highlighted, the Fiora, the Camille, the Gnar, and the Akshan. I mean, Gwen's gone to. It's definitely a very trimmed top side draft here. Corki is what ends up being Shaolin's pick, which had a pretty decent time of it on Thursday.
So remember, the things that got Nerf and Corki are the package. The damage, the basic rockets, they're still doing exactly the same things. So if you can get to 2-3 items on Corki, you will do exactly it. If we get a second Yorick game today, sure.
It would be pretty funny, but I just don't quite think we'll get
Icy Gale on Malphite would not have been my expectation, but there it is. It's locked in. It's into the graves. You can stack armor. In fact, honestly, yes, Corki does relatively decent mixed damage, but he's not necessarily the best tank killer per se. You've got triple AD threats outside of that. That's a pretty solid Malphite pick, I think.
Yeah, I mean, whilst, yes, you know, it wasn't on my bingo card to see Icy Gale on Malphite. Like you say, 380 carries into Malphite, he's really happy. Even if, you know, Corki deals, I think, what's the ratio? I guess 20 to 80%. I think
something.
that's
What is it? 80%?
Higher. Yeah, it's 80 to 20. Yeah.
See what?
Yeah, 80-20 in our ears. So even if that is how much magic damage Corki's dealing, he doesn't really care because that's the only magic damage that's coming out of Domino consistently. So he's very happy to just go his mythic, go into something like a Frozen Heart, which is going to make Graves' life even more miserable. The guy doesn't get to war attack that quick.
Anduin's probably not awful in this game either, honestly. Exactly. Just like so all of these things.
The Itemization path is laid out for Icy Gale already, right? Like you say, mythic, Randoid's probably Frozen Heart, one magic resist item if you
Mm.
really feel like Corki's dealing too much damage, and you're set. So,
Honestly, force of nature in your set, I feel.
yeah,
Honestly, you'd be just even a spirit visage, but like actually you're not gonna get much healing, so I take that back.
so
Never mind,
probably
I take it
Force
away.
of Nature.
Yeah, I take that back. I was wrong. But like I know Volibear, historically, generally speaking, is considered not to be the best scaler. It tends to fall off a cliff, particularly from jungle, was kind of when he was more meta last season before. But honestly, with the kind of itemization path, which is saying, look, I think you just build a couple tank items and particularly against auto attack threats. And I think you're probably pretty happy at 3 items here if you get to that point versus this squad. Yes, the Corki will be dangerous, but I wonder. I do wonder.
I don't think he's gonna have too much of an issue falling off. Like, it's
I
definitely
agree.
gonna be mildly problematic if Domino get ahead naturally, but that's just
Yeah.
how Volibear feels in
Sure.
any
Yes, I
game.
agree with that.
But at the end of the day, he's probably not gonna feel too bad going into combat.
Ah.
He's gonna fulfill his job in the early stages. He's playing towards the bottom side. He's got all that set up.
All
It's
right.
a red side draft where Icy Gale isn't gonna probably be the focus of the game.
Well, honestly, with the way you've got Jinx Thresh, Aphelios Nautilus, and roaming, diving junglers plus the Rise will want the shove, you can see that they want to try and play towards that boss. And Graves generally want to leave AFK on the side. Like Malphite doesn't want to turn up until he can teleport. And all of those things. It basically means bot focus in general. I completely agree. Unfortunately, I'm sure for the listeners at home and the viewers as it stands, we're not going to be stuck in sepia tones any longer. It was a very short pause, and that leaves us onto the rift without having to podcast too much. Still, what are we expecting out of the early game then, considering we've had that conversation about, well, some good itemization choices for London United as the game goes on, but Corky, Jinx, Graves all scale pretty well themselves, and that mid to late game conversation is we've kind of had already. What are you expecting out of the early jungle pathing? What are you expecting out of the early lanes?
All right, so I think in top side, like you kind of said, we'll just get it over and done with. Rit should just have priority from start to finish. Even with the
You,
Comet
Auto.
Q Max from Icy Gale, I don't quite think it's gonna be enough
Oh,
to force him
oh
out.
god. Hang on, wait. This is Icy Gale and he's gone comment. Does he go AP Malphite? This is Icy Gale.
Oh,
This might not be a tank Malphite. I just realized who I was talking about here and realized there is a very real chance that it's not tank Malphite. He's got corrupting potion as well, so I don't know. Maybe it's a world with
it
the
leaves it a little more up in the air. Crafting potion's quite common on Malphite starts. Oh, is he gonna
I
actually?
know.
Wait. Can we look at the top side unless something? Because did he miss XP? Did Icy Gale miss XP? Because I think he very well could have.
I
think he
wasn't
missed
paying enough attention, and my
creep.
knowledge of
He missed one creep.
Wave states just not enough. Mr. Creep, so he has dropped the experience
I'm pretty
for the
confident he missed
price
one
of
creep.
irritating
Yeah.
Charmin, basically.
Yeah.
That's a
Alright.
worthy price. I think you get the vision. And in fairness, Malphite was always going to lose priority, so maybe you're okay with dropping the XP, but it is dropped.
Yeah. It's gonna feel a little bit bad for a bit, but yeah, you can see Ice Gale's just gonna be very annoying to deal with in lane. Just Q, walk away. You're not really gonna be able to trade with him. Rich is gonna have full priority up here. This might be the last time that we look at the top lane for the remainder of the laning phase, unless something is specifically happening with the junglers. So,
Yes.
in the
We've seen
bottom
it. We
side-
now wave goodbye.
Yeah, we
and
wave goodbye.
We'll move on. We'll move on once we see maybe some interesting items. This mid lane is where we need to turn our eyes. Speaking of goodbye, Shaolin gets shown down into the grave.
Yeah, exactly. And that mid lane wave state, not particularly the best either. Yoichi, however, not a very high level. Still a level down on Shaolin. The more apt way to put it, will get the XP now, but is able just barely to hold the wave in front of the tower. So Shaolin absolutely forced to teleports. There you go, got there in the end.
Well,
and good early gap from Lloyded.
Again, substitute, replacement comes in. Noided is here and manages to get the early level 3 gank, clears one corner of his jungle, just goes for the flash in. It's with Yoichi as well. Again, another mid laner who's had to step in as like the third mid laner for London knew this split. And that's really what you want to see if you do want to justify these shifts. That kind of play, that kind of proactivity is what you want to get out of those switches.
Yeah, 100%. And Yoichi just won his lane with that trade. 100%.
Yeah.
Because now he
And he gets a reset, so he's got his whole health bar to come back with.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing. Laners, if for whatever reason you don't know this very basic thing, if you've just come back to lane, all right, you've had to reset or you know, etc., and your enemy laner hasn't, gone back to base, but they have teleport, don't trade with them. Don't trade your HP bar with them. because they will always win out. In more cases than not, obviously it's contextual to things like wave state and where the junglers are. But in isolation, they will typically win out simply because, well, they'll just reset, teleport back in with more health than you, and things just feel
And
quite
a
poor.
fully charged corrupting part as well to boot, which is like, yep, okay, well, I've got 3 more charged of those, and you've got like none of yours left. And it actually, Corki, I think, had to. I'm not quite sure.
Full
He had to
on
go back
reset.
again. Yeah, had to go back again, which is not what you want to see. Yes, you're running the first strike, and that'll help go a little bit later. Is Noid is into the bot side. We're still going to see whether there's a bit more to be found. As Domino has to flash out there. That one did not work as Chris managed to get the flame choppers armed in time. London, you trying to force something in the bot side just didn't work out. And Yoichi now getting return ganked in the mid lane. Valkyrie forwards. Silent can't quite get close enough to make anything work as Icicle continue to throw out these seismic shards and the claps start coming through, and Ripped needs to be a bit afraid here. End of the line, gonna go wide. Another Q comes through. My days flash to flash. Can't quite get it range. Both of these laners playing so close to the wire. No, my days.
I'm
getting very nervous. Noid's here as well.
Icegale, 1Q, Comet. It's gonna drop him below 100.
Rips
and
on,
Noid
Rips
just
on, no flash. You can't quick draw away from this. There's a sky splitter. Rip's gonna try an alcove game. Time it, dive the thundering smash, and will do. Icicle needs to be a little afraid. He's backing away. There's no mana. Do not allow him to get the kill. Don't get the kill. She's gonna try to execute. Fine, I was worried there. Icicle gets out, doesn't die to minions.
Yeah, I was also worried for Icegale there on the back end because I mean he was at like 70 HP, took a wave down.
They were like literally just taking full minion casters of a whole wave. Like that was a lot of autos.
Yeah,
They've all been on with Glintstone Pedal. You don't just try. You don't deck that. Anyone who's playing Elden Ring knows that.
True, very true. All right, so top side, definitely a bit of a fiesta.
We weren't supposed to look back at that lane. It was supposed to be like one that's done.
We literally said we're probably not going to be up here unless something happens to the junglers. So I guess the call was correct. Noid had showed up, but definitely to the fault. I will say the fault of both these top laners being a little bit too overeager.
That just says a lot about those top laners. You got a Riven one trick and a Riven main. There we go. That's a little fair in a rep. A Riven main and a Rengar top main. And then that's a hook onto Divinus. Never mind top lane. We're focusing on bot now. Dreadslide comes through as a follow through, and Den is dead.
Yep, dead. That's just a flat out 2v2. Noided, there for moral support. Doesn't even end up getting
more punts lined up for this support, but like just because but we have to wait on those.
All right, I'm waiting eagerly to see exactly.
I'm glad somebody is. Everyone else probably isn't, but you at least. That's one person. We'll take that as a win.
Yeah, there you go. As Icegale's got 2 ruby crystals in the inventory, so that's not going to be AP, by the way. We're looking at top lane, even though we said.
Well, what should be something stupid like I don't know, like does Leandri still build from ruby crystals?
It does now, doesn't it? A lot of the mythics got given AP. No, I don't think Leandri's one. But yeah, a lot of AP IMs in general.
I'm still hoping. That's why. Icegale, show me your might, as he's continued to make Rip's life really obnoxious. Remember, he's still got, of course, the unstoppable force. Won't use it right now, and honestly, with level 6s now on Noided, now on Icegale, no teleport, of course, for Malphite. The moment Herald spawns, there's a lot of level 6s that get pulled, and I know you've got a Cataclysm. I know. But I feel like the top side ultimate is probably slightly more impactful at the first big team fight.
Yeah, no, 100%. Those big ultimates, once they come online at level 6, very, very crucial to making things work. Now, I've lost my feet.
Oh, boy. Never, okay, that's just a solo kill. The Force is strong with this one. Unstoppably strong, in fact. Cold wind is blowing, and Ripped was not dressed for the cold. Den is done. Another kill on the bot side. London United are taking this game by storm. And there hasn't even been a Stormbringer yet.
I've lost my feet. I'm not sure.
Okay, well in that case, I'll keep talking. I was waiting for some response, and I could have I've got no feed.
I've been allowed back in. I'm not sure what happened there. But as you said, solo kill ended up coming out from London United side, and this is exactly what we need to see from this team. Bringing the substitutes in, definitely struggling overall throughout the split. We've had talks in the interviews, mostly from Divinus, to be honest, but definitely other members saying, if we can just find our groove, that's all we really need. We can be a good team. Maybe this can be a combination that they needed the most, and especially off the back of, you know, bringing in Yoichi as well. It's definitely seemed like London United could have picked up more wins than they've ended up with since he's come into the roster.
Bot side now, of course, they did just get a kill, but now they're going to try and return the favor. Divinus not quite with flash.
Everyone's
Noid is here to turn it around. The counter gang is strong. Moonlight Vigil comes through, and now the chakrams are stacked, and the blender can continue. Realm Warp in to try and turn this out. Stormbringer is there, and the inclement weather is going the way of London U. They'll turn it around because, of course, the Cataclysm kept Noid within tower range, but you can't flag and drag into that. The only thing you're dragging yourself over into is the grave. Just went straight over the cliff.
Yeah, Sidon unfortunately just doesn't quite find the knock-up. If he finds the knock-up, it's a little more, you know, acceptable, I guess, but I just think it's not a risk worth taking. And definitely shows that. Goes down, drags himself off the cliff to the death chamber. As Ripped is just not having a fun time up here, apparently. I mean, he's up CS, but ICL just being a real big nuisance, yeah.
And I am sad. It is, in fact, the Barmy Cinder and Steel Gaps. Look, that is the more sensible call. I know it is, but I was just hoping that of all people who would play AP Malphite in professional play, it would be Icy Gale. And I am sad that that's not what I'm getting as the top side that will contest for the Scuttle. Don't know who got that. I think the smite was on cooldown, so I'm pretty sure that's Ripped. But I can't see quite now. Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much, Reed. Indeed, it is Ripped who picked up that Scuttle Crab. Took me a second to remember the name there until it showed on screen, in fact. I have got eyes and I can read. As Yoichi gonna get ganked, but again, London U really reading these plays around the map from Domino pretty well. Unfortunately, much like their namesake, Domino's falling short in this game.
Yeah, exactly. Now London United, off the back of that mid-side play, probably can secure this Herald. Divinus has level 6 to Denden's level 5, and Denden has to go back to base after losing that much HP. Topside priority as well, firmly in Icy Gale's favor, even though he's not really down that much CS. I mean, that's exactly what he was looking to achieve anyway. Goal of this lane, stay within 10 CS of the Graves. He's done that.
Absolutely. And you've got Noided who's come in 3-1 and 2. You're looking at this AD carry who's come in 3-0-1 for Fabs right now. They've managed to get the Malphite a solo kill. Yoichi's up in CS. It's all looking very good. They're up 2,500 gold, let's be fair. And they've just picked up the Herald, which should surely be a couple more plates. And I'm eyeing this bot lane turret that's already down at 3 plates as a pretty easy first turret, all things said and done, actually.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good looks for London United. And as you say, that bottom side tower, definitely the prime target. Chris and Denden going to have to try and do their best to keep this wave as shoved up as possible with those rockets for the next couple of minutes. But the issue is, if they do that, they just set themselves up to potentially be ganked. And that is just the scary fact of the matter. As Ripped has that whole break finished up, so the resistances are now there, specifically the magic resist parts, to reduce some of the annoyance of the poke from Icy Gale, as Fabs and Divinus could walk into Sidon here, but there wouldn't be too much follow-up. I think Shaolin, I don't know if I heard the audio cue or not. Does he have the package? The Corki he does. Okay, so they're looking to definitely contest this, but the issue is there's going to be priority in at least one lane because of the Herald, which somebody from Domino is going to have to respond to. And do they even know about this? I don't think they do. Denden.
Oh, they're going to pick him up. That's a big pick up onto the Thresh. Chain Warden, chain down, and dragged down to the depths, courtesy of a solid gank between Noided and Divinus' CC. Sidon's around, but the Herald spawned, and those plates all but done. First turret about to be secured.
Yeah, exactly. Tower would have died to the charge itself anyway. Fabs gets in range, get a couple of auto attacks in.
Gets Dragon as well off it. This is great sequence of plays, and I feel like I've been saying that all game. We spent a lot of the pre-game, Jamada, saying, look, lots of shifts in the roster. It's against the Domino that's on a big win streak. They've been looking more consistent. Always a bit concerning when you're seeing such big roster changes so late into the season. But at the minute, a lot of our concerns, a lot of our worries being proven completely wrong right now.
Yeah, no, and again, I mean, it does feel like right now, Noided, Fabs finding a much better groove. KZ wasn't really having the best time, particularly in laning phase 2. Which Fabs, at least into Chris, been doing a much better job of it. And as for Noided, yeah, just been having the impact that you need to have on the volley bear. And it felt like when we had Dunlosi on these kind of picks, which he was traditionally on, he wasn't more of the early game engagers. Ice Gale forced to use the ultimate away. Just couldn't really find the impact. Whether that's to do with the communication, whether that's to do with, you know, play style or just the drafts that they had beforehand, it's really hard to tell. It's only a 1-game sample size here at the end of the day, so can't necessarily jump to conclusions, but a much better looking London United in the early game and setting themselves up well for the later stages too. Sheldon.
Need to be very afraid. Onslaught was popped by Fabs alongside the Moonlight Vigil. That's a lot of chakrams. But he's going to be forced away. Doesn't burn any summoners there. But the ultimate being down as Icy Gale decides, I can tank this up. He's onto traps and he's into 3 men. I'm not sure this is going to be that doable. He avoids some of the CC, avoids a little more of it. He's very tanky. Remember the amount of armor he has. Flashes away. Sidon slow down. Super Mega Death Rocket goes down. Flashing away from the turret. He's surely can't. As Chris goes forward as well. And I don't believe it. Icy Gale, you're like, that was about as ballsy a play as you could make. And he gets away with murder.
Yeah, absolutely he does. Domino, if you can't even find a side lane player like this and you lose your mid lane tier 1, it just feels so bad. 5k gold down now. Icy Gale doing Icy Gale things.
Like all I'm saying, the reason there's a big cold wind going on the top is the amount of shade this player is throwing right now. It turns up into 3 people, walks onto a trap, burns every ultimate available pretty much there, and gets out alive. Like, that's really nuts. He holds the tower as well. Like, in all honesty, that was probably a bad play, but I appreciate the hands to be able to get away with it.
Exactly, and look at this. It even turns into London United giving this a Aphelios, the top tower here, and I imagine mid lane tower, top side tower, solo gold. He probably has 2 items. I think he's got enough gold here.
Let's have a look at the gold if we can, Reed. Thank you very much.
Just timing. Sure. I think he's 50 gold short.
Oh,
right?
Does he hang around? Maybe
am I doing the mental match wrong? I can't remember how much. I think it's 950 the combined cost actually for a Lord Dominic. So when you have the agility cloak and the last wisp. So yeah, just a little bit short on that, but still, I mean, could very easily walk out, farm 2 waves, 3 waves, maybe a jungle camp, quickly go back to base, and pick that one up to be at 2 items for this dragon. Whereas look at Chris, barely.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe has the gold to finish up the mythic.
They're even on CS pretty much, but 302 and 3 turrets will give you 2,500 gold. It turns out that is pretty damn strong indeed. So it's 1450 for last whip, for 600 for cloak of agility. So that's what 2,050. So yeah, 950 is the combined cost. There you go. Bit of mental maths done on air. So there you go. By the way, solid work. You were correct. And I did the cardinal sin of doing maths on air, but I believe I did it correctly, so we'll hold to it. I got away with it.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You commit the sin, but it was still correct. So
okay.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. But 60 seconds until
appreciate it.
This dragon spawns, more like 75, but you know, we round down here. Fabs, I think after he picks up that red buff, could just reset here. Probably wants to get the wave in just for mid lane priority. Reset real quick. Get that second item completed. Icy Gale, they're looking to pick on him, but I mean, again,
he's got unstoppable force. He just walks away super fast. He's not too much trouble. Thunderclaps in front of him, and he's just out of there.
Yeah.
In fact, they might just think about going for the second herald and not for the dragon right now, valuing the additional map pressure that will earn them. And they think, well, we can probably see the dragon here, and especially if Icy Gale's shoving up, you can see Sidon on your map just hanging around, seeing whether there's an angle here. They know the herald's going down, and Icy Gale just playing relatively safe. You can see the vision lines, what we're focusing on here. What can London you see? Has now spotted the Jarvan.
Yeah, Zombie Ward coming in clutch there.
That deep line of vision paying off so clutch right now as well. That's what's making things so difficult, because on the other side for Domino,
observers,
that is very dark.
Yeah, exactly. Just nothing to really work with at all. And London United, they don't even really need the Herald to do this dragon.
The jungle is dark and full of terrors, namely Malphite.
Yeah, namely Malphite indeed. So they're going to pick this one up. Entirely uncontested. Icy Gale can continue to win out on this side lane, because that's what he's doing now. And very easily rotate up to the top side, the mid lane if he wants to. So Sheldon, off that bottom side, dragon takedown from London United will finally find a tower, but you've got 5 minutes to scale.
Yeah, I mean, I've yet to see a proper package play, and obviously that's a big nerf to Corki, but you've got the Hex Trinket, that's great. That's into the Rise, that'll help you side lane into that. It's into the Malphite, who does nominal magic damage, so your 2 side lane people, you've got the item into it, that's fine, but you're a long way off 2 items. You're still at 1.5 for Chris. You've finally got a hull breaker for Rip, but that's about it. And we kind of said there was some potential itemization discrepancies going on. You can see it in inventories on these tanks. Steel caps abound. And you've got Warden's Mails, you've got, I forget the name of the little shoulder greave, like leg greave things that are in Noid's inventory. They're Demacian named, and I can't remember them. And I thought I said.
flight wing summon.
Oh,
Winged something.
okay.
Winged leggings? Winged moon
Winged
plate.
moon plate.
Yeah.
That's what it is. There we go. Winged moon plate.
Had
Appreciate
winged
it again.
down.
Like the point is, the armor stacking is coming through, and you know once things like the Frozen Heart get complete, it's already gonna get harder than it is. They're at soul point down already. 2 items are on Fabs. 2 items not gonna be far away on something like Yoichi either, and that gets increasingly scary when the map is already dark and face checking into the Malphite who can just press R and hit, you know, blow up whoever comes into you with the aid of his team is a very challenging position to be. So, Jamada, it's the age-old question that all play-by-plays do to their color casters in situations like this. And I ask you this question knowing there's probably not a very easy answer.
Yeah.
What do you want to see out of Domino to stop the bleeding?
See, this is the thing. The answer is just kind of turtle, but I don't know if they have the time to turtle. That's the unfortunate reality. London United, they're gonna just go and stand in front of the dragon in the next 3 minutes, and I just don't really think Domino are gonna have the items to stand up to what London United have in their inventories right now.
Okay, so next question then for 16 points. Consider it's part of the Div 2 essay. You know, it's your exam right now. You know, coming into the later stages of the split. For 16 points, discuss. What does a one team fight look like for Domino at that dragon fight that's going to be so critical?
It looks like Shaolin with a package being able to find Fab's Owl position and assassinate him with hopefully the help of collateral damage from Ripped. Maybe Sidon gets a dive in. I think once you remove Fabs, the damage profile of London United dips drastically, right? Not only is he 302, he's got the most gold on their team, pretty much undoubtedly. Maybe Noided is kind of close. Actually, no, I don't think
with 100 CS discrepancy, there's no way that's true. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, never mind. I take that back.
Oh, lordy, lord. Yeah, no.
Jungle brain from me for a second. But yeah, Fabs, 10k gold, right? If you remove him off the map, you can absolutely take, you know, a 4v4, 5v5, 5v4 even. Because Yoichi, of course, actually, no, going for the Sarah's Embrace. So he's going for a slightly more damage-heavy sustain build, right? With the...
I think it's when you've got 3 frontline tanks, and as you said, the damage profile will drop if Fabs died, and you've got ways to do that. I don't hate this, and decent hook, but it's not going to lead to anything right now, as Noided takes nominal damage. The Herald will not charge, so not the best use of that, but there you go. Probably couldn't save it any longer for the Dragon, so just kind of used it there. Couldn't get the wave shoved in, so slight waste objective, unfortunately.
Yeah, slight waste, but at the end of the day, I don't really feel like London had a better opportunity unless they really went out of their way to force it on one of the side lanes. Which, of course, that's the counter-argument. Go and force it on the side lane so you actually get value. But at the moment, it doesn't really matter, because, I mean, even if we take a massive zoom out and just take a look at the minimap, right? Domino, what vision do they really have to work with, right? We're 60 seconds away from this dragon spawning. The answer is pretty much nothing.
Wow. I mean, I was just about to say there were control wards in literally every inventory slot until Yoichi just used his. But, like, literally, London United have gone full Mass Effect Harbinger and assuming direct control ward of, like, the entire map right now. There's no vision at all anywhere. Now, 30 seconds after the Dragon, there are going to be a couple resets coming through. That's a little late, honestly. You know, normally you want that to be about 30 seconds or so earlier, but I don't think it's going to matter a great deal, and it's earned an additional BF sword for the likes of Phobes. You can see 2 items complete, stopwatch inventory for a lot of key people here as well, namely the Rise and the Aphelios, and that leaves us with a very cataclysmic fight coming up.
Yeah, taking a look at the items, this is going to be Domino's best opportunity. This is the closest to parry they're probably going to be for a little while here. They have to win this fight. If they lose out, I think London United just... This is final nail in the coffin for Domino.
Eyes on the Aphelios. Does he die? Can Shaolin find the package? Can Domino some way neuter the engage of Noided and Icy Gale? It's going to be very hard. It's going to be difficult. Yoichi actually is the one they decide to pick on. He's so low, he has to go stop it, but on the other side, Fabs is thrown out of Moonlight Vigil. Yes, they might kill the Rise, but I think they'll lose their entire team down well for it. It's a 1-for-1 right now, so maybe I overspeak. The Chakrams have timed out, Ripped on the side off Vision. Could maybe turn this around still a little more. Big rocket starting to come through. Maybe Shaolin has turned the corner. Maybe this will be enough, but they're still stuck between a rock and a cold place as Icy Gale could look for an unstoppable force, yet to use it. Dragon secured though by Sidon, and they might have found their way out, found their way to some heat, but there is the unstoppable force, and Jinx is taken to the cleaners, squashed flat by the mountain.
Squashed flat, sure, but I mean, honestly, Domino's
Take
chances haven't quite been squashed flat because they didn't end up losing out on the soul, and I think that would have been, you know, pretty much.
No, do they just do this?
I think it's a bit risky. They do have Chakrams and Caliburn
Malphite
available
can
on
tank.
Fabs.
They've got enough
Yeah,
tanks.
Malphite can tank. Yeah, Sheldon's on the
Sheldon's
bottom
not
side. He's got
there.
teleport. I just don't know
Starting.
if Domino are.
Okay.
I don't think Domino are thinking about this because look at Fabs. He's in the mid lane. If he goes into Falcon's top side now, this
Look
is
where
where it
Jarvan
starts
is.
to get a bit suspect.
got his
But
red
yeah,
buff.
Jarvan's just. Well, I mean, this
It's
is it.
done.
This is the Baron takedown. Yeah, straight up. Baron's gone. I don't think Domino is suspecting this kind of play so
Too late.
quickly.
They've worked it out now. It's going to be too late. They finally thought about it. There's no one on the blast gun. That was a late Oracles, but it's still going to be just fine. Farsight alteration. I apologize. Oracles, of course, the sweeper, and that is still Domino that secured the Baron. Yes, they didn't get the dragon, but they still came out just about ahead in that one. And what was a decent stalling moment for Domino turns into a bit of a disaster because they lost the Baron as well.
Yeah, exactly. And now London United, they've got all these inner towers to work on. Baron, perfect at sieging those. And on the minimap, I like this. Only opening out on 2 lanes, right? You've got Yoichi on the bottom side, who can always roam up to join the middle of the map. And you have the 4 here in the mid lane. And they're even looking like they're going to slowly push this wave to try and sync up on the bottom side. Round of applause, London United. Great Baron usage, or at least the opening of that Baron. Very, very strong as replay on our screens. And we said, you know, what does a one fight look like for Domino? Honestly, the start of it looks something similar to this. Jump onto Fabs, jump onto Yoichi, right? One of the 2 carries. Fabs obviously more preferential, having so much gold. But I mean, at the end of the day, they remove away a carry, sure. On the top side, though, Den walking in, gets caught out. We're actually coming out of the replay.
Oh, lordy lord! Infinity Edge was picked up by Aphelios, and it'll show him exactly what 200 years means. It leads you a mountain on your face, and a lot of chakrams and fire to burn the rest of you down. You've lost your Jarvan, you've lost your Jinx, you've lost your Thresh. It's Corky Rockets alone to try and defend it, and London you say enough of these close team fights, enough of you stalling. We're here to crush this one out. They switch 2 members, and they'll pick up a win. Domino's win streak cut short, cut down, ripped apart. The tower's about to fall down as well. And London United will move to 4 and 9, tying themselves up with Verdant. They've still got a chance for playoffs, Yamada. They've still got a chance to avoid things like relegation. And this is the way it starts.
It's such a crucial win for them to pick this one up. And this is how it actually starts this fight. It's just a flash ultimate into... Oh, absolutely spectacular stuff.
Rocking an icy cold place. No way out.
Exactly. That was very, very well done by Ice Scale. To just... It's very small moments like that where, you know, the discipline in teams... Very important when you're playing against something like a Malphite, because you have to, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to intently spread out. You can't really ever be together, otherwise you have moments like that. Icy Gale from Flash Arm, maximum range, just catches a brief opportunity and they take it and they close the game off that. Really nice stuff from London United. But yeah, just to zoom back out before we obviously head into interviews and such like that after the break. But Icy Gale, not Icy Gale, sorry. Bringing in Noided, bringing in Fabs seems to have worked for this game because they looked much stronger. And when you just take a look at the scoreboard now, 4 and 9, yes, not the best standing in the world, but Verdant just picked up their win as well. They have to match the pace with Verdant to try and stay out of the relegation zone, because as things stand, AAB, the likely of one of the 2 spots of the relegation will end up being in their hands. But AAB, I mean Verdant rather, and London United still, you know, it's in their control.
Keep the dream alive.
Exactly, it keeps the dream alive for playoffs maybe, and staying out of relegations, a much needed win.
2 new players, no problem, managed to get themselves the win. We'll cut to a break. Hopefully we'll have some interviews, but of course there has been some slight issues with Discord over the last sort of hour or so. So of course we had to miss out our last couple of interviews. Hopefully we'll have some, but if not, we'll see you back for Lightside versus Flung. Here's hoping. See you in a few.